here of your own free will to take the test. Everything we talk about today is going to be strictly confidential between the involved parties. The only thing by law that I have to report to anybody else would be if you admitted a felony crime to me. Those things aren't privileged. As long as it doesn't happen, we're all set. Third and last, you can walk out that door at any time you want during the process. This is not a criminal investigation of any kind, so.
Is this live streamed?
Excuse me?
Is this live streamed?
I think that's why the camera's on behind me. I think they're doing their thing on whatever it is for the show producers do. Once that's done, I'm going to open up a file here in the system. I'll be asking you educational, medical questions. I just have to establish that health-wise you're okay to continue and take the test. Once I get past that point, I'm going to briefly explain what the equipment on the table does, give you a quick introduction to it. Then I'm going to relay a short story about Polygraph to you that will hopefully answer any of the questions you came in here with today. Everybody has questions of some kind, so please hang on to those until at least I finish that part of it. If I haven't answered your questions by then, I'll gladly take them. At that point in time, we're going to go over the questions about why you're here. Okay? I just got them 5 minutes ago. It's okay, I haven't really had a chance to look them up either. But once they're in the system, I'll ask you some of my own questions. I'll have already gone over with you a little bit of detail prior to getting there about why I do that. But once that's done, that completes the entire question set. I then rearrange the furniture here briefly. I'll attach the equipment to you, give you instructions of what to do, what not to do for the test. Then I'm going to run that question set 3 separate times. Now I run 3 charts because I'm looking for consistency in your responses. One of 3 things are going to happen. You'll either be truthful, deceptive, or inconclusive while I'm asking you a question. Format that I'm going to run today will give me somewhere between a 90 and 95% accuracy rate. The other 5 to 10%, it could be inconclusive. That happens if the question was not worded properly, if it let you rationalize around words in the question, or if I was asking you about feelings, thoughts, intentions, opinions. So I'm not going to ask you why questions. I'm going to ask you, did you or did you not type of questions, okay? Once the charts are done, we're done here. I'll notify these folks probably by tomorrow with a written report on how this all came out. What they do with it there is totally up to them and their show and their producers and all of that stuff. Any questions on just the process?
If there's a question that I decline to answer, what do I say?
I'll just try to pick something else.
Okay.
I can't do anything about their questions. You'd have to talk to them about that, but
Right.
okay. But we're a little ways away from getting there.
Okay.
Okay, here comes the consent form. So right here, the date is the 20th. I want you to print that there. Print your name here, full name. This line here is for anybody else that's going to be made on the results. So put the house's name here or the show's name or something that acknowledges the fact that they are the client. They will be made notified of the results. Read that through. If you agree, sign and date it at the bottom. Spell your last name for me, please.
G-I-L-L.
G-I-L.
L.
Gil. Your first name?
You can put Mizzy, M-I-Z-Z-Y.
What's your date of birth?
I can enter it for you. I don't feel comfortable sharing my birthday to a live audience.
Where were you born?
Can I write it down as well?
Why don't you fill that sheet out for me?
Okay. What do you need?
Height.
The whole thing?
Your height and weight. Your marital status under that. Then further down, I just have a bunch of blocks about your medical history. It does make a difference on your physiological changes that might happen if any of those are yeses.
Where's
The last half of the page.
right here?
Yeah.
I can't
Diabetes.
read it.
Diabetes is one.
Okay.
Hernia, ulcers. You are on your menstrual cycle today. Are you allergic to anything?
Yeah.
That's down a couple.
What is this one?
I can't read it upside down. Injuries.
I mean, in what way? Injuries in like.
Are you physically hurt today for any reason? Allergies would be the next one. If there are, list it.
Is that what that bothering? Blood pressure. I have like issues with my blood pressure.
Has it been diagnosed and being treated by a doctor?
No, but I recently discovered that.
Okay. Do you have memory loss issues?
It depends. Okay. What is that one say?
Allergies.
That one's allergies? Okay.
Blackouts. Back issues. Epilepsy. Pregnant. Life-threatening injuries to your body, kidney issues, and any medications you might be on. I'm glad you're filling that into a medical one out. 'Cause I'm terrible at spelling prescription names.
Blackouts, like, is that including drinking or?
No,
No.
non-alcohol related. Did you get the, yeah. Never heard of that place. What's your highest level of education?
College.
Completion?
I have like 7 units left, but I mean, I got my.
Almost
I have my.
all.
I walked.
Okay.
So and that was a bachelor's degree.
How'd you sleep last night?
I think pretty good.
How many hours is good? Just take a guess. Doesn't have to be exact.
7.
What's your average?
7.
Have you eaten anything today?
No.
So, in the last 24 hours, have you had any alcohol?
No.
In your lifetime, have you ever used illegal drugs?
Yes.
How long ago was the last time?
Are mushrooms legal? Then no. Yes, but like probably like a couple years ago.
Okay. It's not in your system.
I don't partake.
What time of day do you take your meds?
Morning and night.
Morning. You ever been arrested for anything?
Never charged.
Ever been a patient of a psychiatrist?
Yes.
What was the issue?
Anxiety.
I get that a lot, actually. A lot of people go through that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any heart issues?
Not that I'm aware of.
Any general health problems at all that you need to hear about?
Mm-mm. I mean, just I'm depressed, have anxiety. Yeah.
Right. They all go together.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years, have you been admitted to a hospital as a patient?
No.
In the last 2 years, have you had a complete medical physical by a doctor?
I've done like a phone one. I don't think I've been into
Right. It's not.
physical. Maybe. I think I did get a new doctor, and I think I maybe had to have one. I don't remember.
Did they take blood work or any of that?
Yeah.
They did. How did it turn out?
I was fine at the time, but they've been wanting me to go in again since I started my depression meds.
Okay. If you had to rate your overall health right now, would you say it's poor, fair, good, or excellent?
Maybe like fair to good.
Okay, enough with the health questions. Everything on this table in front of me is a computerized polygraph instrument. All the attachments, when they're attached to you and I'm asking you the questions, it's going to send all the information from the inside of your body. It's going live through the computerized box and splashes across my screen instantly. This here is a motion pad sensor. You're actually going to be sitting on this while I'm asking you the questions today. This is actually your best friend throughout the whole process, because if I see a reaction, I look to see if it was first of all caused by movement. If it was, this picks it up. If it was, I call that a false positive. Just means it didn't happen from the inside of your body, it came from somewhere else. If that happens, I will repeat the question. If you hear me repeating any questions while you're hooked up, it's usually because something went off on that.
Okay.
Blood pressure cuff is the same thing you see at the doctor's office. The difference between here and there, I am not checking your blood pressure today. This will be monitoring the rate and strength of your pulse while I'm asking you the questions. I put a lot less pressure in here than they do at the doctor's, simply because it will be inflated on your arm for about 3.5 minutes each time I use it. 3.5 minutes is actually a long time. So I put just what I need in here. It'll be the only thing attached to you today that you'll feel anything from at all will be the cuff. These are called pneumograph tubes. There's 2 of those. First one's going across your upper chest, which is above the heart. The other one goes across the abdomen below the heart. That bead of chain just goes around your back and clips and holds it in place. Between the 2 of them, they're going to monitor the air capacity in your lungs. And last, I have these. These are called electrodermal tabs. Electrodermal does imply there's a slight current going through here, so I do have to ask you, do you have a pacemaker in your body? Well, if you just took a small battery and you held it between your 2 fingers, there's more of a current going into your body through that battery than goes through here. When you're holding a battery, you can't feel anything. You're not going to feel anything when these are attached either. But that'll be monitoring all the electrodermal activity going on in every cell of your body when I ask you those questions. Now, years ago, when I was back at Polygraph school, And the guy up in front of the class said electrodermal activity for the very first time. Nobody in the class really had a clue what he was talking about. So I've made up this little story I'm going to explain to you here, and it's going to give you a much better idea how all this stuff works. Before I do that, though, I'm going to have you put this glove on your left hand. All that glove is going to do is make your fingertips nice and sweaty, so by the time I actually attach some of this stuff, I'll get a good contact. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Let's go back to when you were little kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're 6, 7, 8 years old. You and your sibs, you're all goofing off in the living room, and one of you just knocked over Mom's favorite lamp and it breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Mom comes in the room. She wants to know who did it. No one says a word. Now she's going to ask each one of you individually. She'll listen to your answers and watch your reactions at the same time. As human beings, when we lie, that chemical reaction that I talked about is called the automated nervous system. And as children, when that happens, there are some physical outward appearances that would be a dead giveaway that you just lied. The first thing that's probably going to happen is the hair on your arms and on the back of your neck would have stood right up on end. I seriously doubt Mom would have saw that. She wouldn't have noticed. So you got away with that part of it. But what she did notice is from your ears right across your cheeks would have flushed over a nice bright purplish color. Direct result of the chemical reaction mixing, reaching the chemical firing point, and then maximizing. When it maximizes, not only does the flush happen, but you would have felt a burning, stinging sensation going across your cheeks at the same time. I call that the lit up effect. If Mom just lit one of your kids up, she's probably got a really good idea which one of you probably did it and which one probably didn't. Now, on any normal given day, your resting potential's right here. I'm going to call this your daily routine, whatever it might be. Right now, you're sitting here ready to take a polygraph. You've never done this before. You have what I call general nervous tension elevated in your body, and you're floating up here somewhere. You are not coming back down to your full normal rest potential for a few hours, after this is over. Now, because you are up here, and because of that automated nervous system, our bodies are made so that we just can't say to ourselves, oh, that was easy, I'm going down there. Oh boy, I don't like the next one, I gotta go back up there. Well, that little maneuver is actually physically impossible for the human body to do. We have no control over that whatsoever. So no matter what I ask you today, whether it be one of my questions or one of theirs, that general nervous tension is filtered into every single one of them all the way across. You are not going to fail a question today because of your nerves. Very important that I ask you a few questions totally unrelated to why you're here, so that I can see what your general nervous tension looks like in those as well.
Mm-hmm.
It should be identical all the way across if it was only caused by general nervous tension. Now, when I have all this equipment attached to you and I'm asking you the very first question while it's running live, it's going to be this one. Is your first name Mizzy? You mentally processed the question, you verbally gave me an answer. That will create activity on the chart to reflect that you answered the question.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at chart 1 and 2 and 3, yeah, that little ripple that I just saw was indeed a truthful answer.
Well, I would say no, because it's technically not my name, but yeah.
I figured that. I'll rephrase that and I'll probably say, do your friends call you Mizzy?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, mentally you processed the question, verbally gave me that answer. It's going to cause that reaction, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I ask you any question today, 25 seconds is going to go by in time before I ask you the next one. This is my scoring and analyzing range on whatever I just asked you.
Mm-hmm.
So say I asked you a question about why you're here, the 25 seconds has gone by, and then I asked you another question about why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
You will not be back down to your full normal rest potential before that second one already got asked.
Mm-hmm.
Now these two zones mixed, and I can't let that happen. I have to separate them. Out goes question 2. I put it out here. Grab one of my own questions and I bring it in and put it in its place. My questions on this test today have 2 reasons for being there. Number 1, they're going to be that buffer question between those 2 case questions. And because it has to be there, I'm going to make it count for something. These are not what I call easy or cupcake questions. They're going to be what I call integrity character questions.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they're going to establish you're not the type of person who would do these kind of things anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just met you a few minutes ago. I don't know anything about you whatsoever. And right now, I'm not sure exactly what those other questions are going to be yet. I'm going to go down through a whole list here with you here shortly. And based on your answers to those questions will kind of steer me where I'll go and where I won't go when I ask you those other questions. Any questions yet on anything I've said?
Can I get a drink?
Sure.
Is everyone doing this?
I don't know. I'm here to do 4 exams today. So I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
I didn't know before I even left the house, so they decided who was going to take the test. Okay, so here's the 3 that they are most interested in here. Number 1, in the last 3 months, have any of your family paid your rent? Your answer will be?
No. I mean, technically I gave my mom money to pay my rent while I was gone.
Okay, but she didn't give it to you?
No.
Okay, that's all they're asking. Where did it come from? Medically, have you ever been diagnosed with an eating disorder?
I've never been diagnosed. I'm not going to say I've never had one, but I've never been diagnosed with one.
Okay, so physician-wise, you've never been treated for it?
No.
Correct. And have you had sex with more than 10 men in your lifetime?
Possibly.
You're not sure?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
In the past 5 years, no.
Okay, but lifetime?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so those are the 3 questions that they have for you. Believe me, in 23 years of doing polygraph tests, I've heard a lot worse than this stuff, okay? So I don't sit here and I don't judge. I don't do anything except run the exam. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to ask you some of my own questions. My questions are basically going to start off the same way. Do you now remember? Boom, 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 boom. Now, the important part of the question is not did you do it. The important part is, do you now remember? Quick example. Somebody comes up to me and says, hey, Carl, do you now remember lying to your mom? I probably did when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Give me a few minutes, I might actually think of something. You want an answer, though, in 5 or 10 seconds? I just got to say no, because nothing popped into my head that quick. Doesn't mean I didn't do it. It just means, no, I don't now remember in that short amount of time you gave me. Now, this is not an exercise to recall your whole life in 5 or 10 seconds, because it's not possible anyway. So if you don't remember anything right away, just say no, because we're not going to sit here all day.
Yeah.
If you do answer yes to anything that I ask you, tell me whatever it was you thought of, and I'll reword the question. So your way out on any of these questions is just to say no if you don't want to answer it. Here we go. Do you now remember telling a serious lie to somebody in authority?
No.
Do you now remember telling a serious lie to somebody who loved and trusted you?
Yes. I mean, so I don't remember one, but I'm sure I have done that. You know,
That's
so I say
the difference, though. You may say, yeah, I've done it. Now I'm going to ask you, well, if you remember, what was it? And then you're gonna go, I don't remember, but I know I've done it. Well, that's what the question's asking you. Do you now remember?
Oh, do I remember doing it?
And if you do answer yes,
specifically?
tell me what it was, you
Gotcha.
remembered.
Okay.
If not, I will just rephrase the question,
Mhm.
okay?
Okay.
So, do you now remember telling a serious lie to somebody who loved and trusted you?
Yes.
What was it?
When I broke up with my ex, I had gotten with the one person that he like didn't want me to get with, and I lied to him about it.
Okay. I'm gonna rephrase that question and I'm gonna say, other than what you've told me, do you now remember telling a serious lie to somebody who loved and trusted you?
No.
Okay. Do you now remember, other than what you've told me, do you now remember betraying someone who put total trust in you?
No.
Ever done anything of a sexual nature that you're now ashamed of?
No.
Ever stolen anything from a friend?
No.
Ever intentionally lied to a police officer?
No.
Do you now remember committing a great sin?
I mean, yes.
You define great.
Oh, great.
Great.
Like lying is a sin.
Everybody does that,
Okay,
right?
then no.
Okay. Are you the type of person who would lie if you made a mistake?
No.
Okay, out of all those questions that I just asked you, I am going to select 3 and then I'm going to plug them into your question set.
Okay.
You aren't going to have any idea which 3 they are until this thing is up and it's running live, and then you'll hear them again.
Okay.
I also have what I call a neutral question on the test. A neutral question is something in this little room, as tiny as it is, but it'll either be a yes or no. Example, is there a floor in this room?
Yes.
You didn't have to look around, you just know that there is. 3 very simple questions, but they have a purpose on the test and need to be there. Regarding the questions asking if you've had physical sexual contact with anyone, do you intend to answer truthfully?
Yes.
Do your friends call you Mizzy?
Yes.
You have officially heard every single question I'm going to ask you when I have you hooked up here. There are no surprise questions coming your way whatsoever. Everything I'm about to ask, you've heard it and you've answered it with a yes or no. So what we're going to do next is actually get you hooked up. I will give you your instructions of what to do and what not to do. And then the first thing I'm going to do before I run this question set that we just put together, I'm going to do what I call a stimulation test. It's a STEM test for short. I have to see what your tracings are going to look like prior to me asking you the real questions about why you're here. So pick a number between 1 and 5.
4.
Then I'm going to say, did you pick a number between 1 and 5? Yes. Did you pick the number 1? No. 2, no. 3, no. 4, no. 5, no. 4, no. 3, no. 2, no. 1, no. You're going to say no to everything out after that.
Even though it says, even though I lied?
Even though you're lying.
Okay.
I don't care what your tracings look like. I just want to see the strength, mainly of your cardio tracing. That's the only point of this exercise. I'm not trying to guess what number you guess, right or wrong, because you already told me what it was, so that's out the window. Again, the purpose of this is for me to see really what your galvanic responses is going to be and your cardio tracing. Okay? So I am going to run that first. And when I do that pick a number chart running, I'm only going to do that one time. not the 3 times like I am with the other questions. Okay, I'm gonna have you stand up for me. Do you have anything in your pockets?
No.
And is that, no, neither one of those are watches, okay? All right, so I'm gonna move this just out of the way over there. And I am going to turn the chair this way. This is going down first. Okay, have a seat on that. And this arm here is going to be flat on the table like that. Your feet are going to be flat on the floor, heel and toe, both touch the floor. I don't care if the feet touch, but I need your feet flat. That arm here is going to be right across your lap. Very good. These are going on first. So this beaded chain is going right behind your back. Lean forward. Arms up. Apologize if this chain's cold. I bet it is. Now this one's going to go above the heart. Arms up again and down, and pull your hair right back out of the way. Get this out of the way. Cuff is coming next. Now I'm going to pull the glove off. When I do not wipe the sweat off your fingertips. You only had one job. It usually does it very well. You should have a fountain over there. Okay, here comes this. Okay, this will be the position I have you in when I have everything going and I'm asking you the questions.
Okay.
Here come your instructions. While that cuff on your arm is inflated, I'm recording all the responses to the question set that we just put together. While it's inflated, I want you to answer every question with a yes or no only, exactly the same way you just did a few minutes ago.
Okay.
You eventually answered all my questions with a no response. I want you to continue to do that. While it's inflated, there are 3 things you should not do. Number 1, no body movement. The hardest thing for you to do right now, sit there perfectly still for 3.5 minutes and not move. Subconsciously, when we answer a question yes or no, we have a tendency to acknowledge it with a head nod. That's body movement. Don't even do that.
Okay.
Number 2, no deep breathing or altered breathing. No panting, no heavy sighs, just breathe normal. Third and last, do not swallow directly after you answer a question. Everybody's got to do it eventually. I will give you the opportunity to get it in there if you actually need it, but I don't want it to affect your scoring range. The scoring range is from the time I begin reading you the question until I ask you the next one. It's at 25 seconds going by in time. Well, from 0 to 15 of that is the critical area for me to score. Do not swallow in the first 15 seconds. If you got to do it between 15 and 25.
All right.
Now, I got way too much going on over here. I will not be able to prompt you when to, when not to. You really just got to guess on your own. It's not the end of the world if any of those things that I said happened. Impurities, artifacts. If I have to, I will repeat a question. That cuff on your arm is inflated for a minimum of 3.5 minutes, provided I don't repeat questions. And about the 2-minute mark, it's going to get your attention. Because I'm clamped off on the artery in your arm, 2 minutes into it, it's going to have this tingling, falling asleep sensation from the elbow down. Now, physically, it's not painful, it's not going to hurt, but you'll definitely be aware that it's there. As soon as I've asked you the last question in the question set and the time limit goes by, I will release the pressure in the cuff. Within about 30 or 40 seconds, your arm's right back to normal again. Very quick recovery rate. At that point in time, I reinflate the cuff and I begin chart 2. Chart 2 and chart 3 are going to be exactly the same questions that I asked you in chart 1. The only thing I do different on 2 and 3, I just mix them up a little bit so they're not exactly in the same order.
Okay.
But the questions themselves won't change.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, find something over here to stare at. There's not much over here. But I really don't want you having a lot of eye movement around the room. If you start doing that, your head's going to move, and we don't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. You can blink as often as you like. That is not a restriction. However, I do want to make sure that you keep your eyes open during the process here and no closing them and drifting off to wherever. Okay? Any questions on your instructions? Big 3, no body movement, no weird breathing, and don't swallow in the first 15 seconds. Okay? I'm going to get over here. I'm going to balance you in. Remember, we're going to run that stem test first. Okay, I'm going to put some air on that cuff so you're real close now to hearing those first few questions. I'm going to give that a quick squeeze and get that excess air out of there.
And I do have my birth control in this arm. Is that okay?
Is it a shot or?
No, it's like a implant.
I'm getting a good cardio, Tracy,
Cool.
so it shouldn't be a big deal.
Awesome.
And we have begun. Did you pick a number between 1 and 5?
Yes.
Now remember, you're going to say no to the rest of these. Did you pick the number 1?
No.
Did you pick the number 2?
No.
Did you pick the number 3?
No.
Did you pick the number 4?
No.
Did you pick the number 5?
No.
Keep your head very still when you answer. Did you pick the number 4?
No.
Did you pick the number 3?
No.
Did you pick the number 2?
No.
Did you pick the number 1?
No.
exercise is over. Let your arm breathe. So that's just a mini version of what it's going to feel like now. Couple of things that we'll go over real here and cover real quick. You want to make sure you keep your head very, very still when you're answering the questions. And you want to make sure that you answer these right away. No delay in the answer.
Okay.
How's your arm feel?
Fine.
Okay. All right, so now I'm going to inflate the cuff. Again, your feet are still flat on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to keep everything really, really still. Do your friends call you Mizzy?
Yes.
Regarding the questions asking if you've had physical sexual contact with anyone, do you intend to answer truthfully?
Yes.
Are you sitting in a chair?
Yes.
Do you now remember doing anything of a sexual nature that you're now ashamed of?
No.
In the last 3 months, have any of your family paid your rent?
No.
Are the lights on in this room?
Yes.
Other than what you've told me, do you now remember betraying someone who put total trust in you?
No.
Have you had sex with more than 10 men in your lifetime?
Yes.
Are your feet touching the floor?
Yes.
Do you now remember telling a serious lie to somebody who loved and trusted you other than what you told me?
No.
Medically, have you ever been diagnosed with an eating disorder?
No.
Okay, that chart's complete.
Have to pay him back every single cent with interest. So my ex recently made the assumption that my dad was helping pay for my rent, but he wasn't, and that pissed me off.
Okay. So in the last 3 months, have any of your family paid your rent from their money?
No.
Okay. That's going to exclude the money that you gave them to pay your rent,
Yeah.
okay? Now, because I'm a chart behind on that question, I might ask that twice on the next question.
Okay.
It's not a big deal, I just want to see it twice on one chart where I haven't seen it at all yet on the first chart worded that way. Here comes the pressure again. Your feet are flat. Give that a quick squeeze. Okay, same question, slightly different order. Do your friends call you Mizzy?
Yes.
Regarding the questions asking if you've had physical sexual contact with anyone, do you intend to answer truthfully?
Yes.
Are you sitting in a chair?
Yes.
Do you now remember doing anything of a sexual nature that you're now ashamed of?
No.
In the last 3 months, have any of your family paid your rent from their money?
No.
And now I'm going to repeat that one. In the last 3 months, have any of your family paid your rent from their money?
No.
Are the lights on in this room?
Yes.
Do you now remember betraying someone who put total trust in you, other than what you told me?
No.
Have you had sex with more than 10 men in your lifetime?
Yes.
Are your feet touching the floor?
Yes.
Do you now remember telling a serious lie to somebody who loved and trusted you, other than what you told me?
No.
Medically, have you ever been diagnosed with an eating disorder?
No.
Okay, chart 2's done. 2 down, 1 to go.